Hey guys, welcome back to the live stream. It is day 2 of our 2-day Michigan build. What we're doing in this van is we have a power system that's going in, some outlets, rooftop AC, max fan, and a couple other details. I'll jump in the van, that way you guys can see, if I can get the right camera here, there we go. So yesterday, if you missed it, we made a bunch of progress. We've got the Baltic birch template board cut out. We've got all the riv nuts in to bolt it to the wall. We'll have an inverter mounted to that, so we needed to make sure we got our holes lined up so that when we come in here to mount the inverter, we're actually not mounting it to the wood, but we're mounting it through the wood into the chassis of the van. So it's going to hang right here on the side. We're using a Renogy 3000 watt inverter charger. That's going to be connected to our smart plug, wherever it went. I think it's on the table back there. Anyway, so the shore power plug back here, that was kind of what took some time yesterday. I was trying to figure out how to get this box back here, but also allow the smart plug to come through, because the back of the smart plug kicks out. Any shore power plug kind of has that kick out. Typically, if you just have a panel here, it's no big deal, but I wanted to take this area back here and keep this box nice and low profile and clean to the wall. So that took some time figuring out how to do that. I ended up finding that this plastic backing here can we can take it off, and then the plug actually comes into the box, which is really cool. And we'll just have short 3 wires to get the main shore power coming into the van. So the shore power is going to come in. We'll have a wire coming behind here into the inverter charger so that it can come over here, charge these 2 eco-worthy 300 amp hour batteries. These are the new ones. These are the waterproof enclosures. So pretty cool. They had a good deal on them. I think these were at the same price as the 280 amp hours, and plus they have a battery monitor up on top built in. The customer really liked that. And another thing that kind of took more time yesterday is how do you safely get these batteries? I know the camera's kind of far away, but what you can't see is how do we get these batteries safe so that in the event of an accident, we don't have 2 300 amp hour batteries being sent behind the driver. And I thought a lot about it. I was going to do some type of like 80-20. I was going to do the Baltic birch like base with some tie downs. And then what I ended up doing is they have a stall mat here, which is about 3/4 of an inch thick. And what I did is I cut out the profile of the stall mat, which is basically just a super thick rubber mat. You can get it like Tractor Supply. It's essentially like a horse stall mat is also what they're called. But I had this template, and this is the profile of the batteries put side by side and where I wanted to actually have riv nuts through the chassis of this van. Now, these guys live up north in Michigan, and there's salt on the road and stuff like that. So when you drill through the floor, you really need to have a good plan on how you're going to protect those protrusions through the floor. Now, typically what someone would do would just sheet metal screw a bunch of stuff in and hangers, but underneath this van, there's a lot of blind places where you can't see where those screws come through. And over time, that's just going to be a spot where it's going to rust, and eventually that bolt will actually, or sheet metal screw will just rust off, fall right off, which is not safe. So on this back side of the van, there's a rib closest to the wheel well. And what I did with that is I put a piece of the heavy duty L-track that I have. And then I have 4 5/16 riv nut rivets, I guess you'd call it, and those are now in the floor. The L-track is on top of it, And then I used a little bit of Peel Marine adhesive underneath the L-track and that does create a nice bond. Now, the 4 5/16 bolts through the floor, that is what we're using as the main kind of safety item, the structure to hold this down. But I found that with the PL Marine, when I use it for the roof, just by itself, it's extremely strong. So you combine those two, and we get a really nice, secure 80/20 mount. L-track mount that's going to safely hold these batteries. And then we got 3 removable tie downs, and so we'll have a ratchet strap around this battery and a ratchet strap around this battery. Nice clean setup, easy to take the batteries in and off, but it's also going to those 2 straps are, they can hold within 500 pounds of force. And it does sound overkill, but I will reiterate, when you're building a van, you got to think of, if you're in an accident, where are all these items going to go? And these batteries are heavy. They're about 60 pounds each. So we want to make sure that they're safely in here. Now they're at an angle right now, but what I'm going to do is this template board, this Baltic Birch template board that I was originally going to use, this is going to be cut into 2 strips. So we got 1 strip that goes on the back side of the L-track, and then we got a front strip that goes on the front side of the L-track. And the batteries will actually sit on this wood, and they'll be compressed down to the floor. And then it's just going to make a nice little kind of cartridge for the batteries. So they're at an angle now, but when those wood strips get in and it gets bolted down, they'll be nice and flush. You'll still be able to see the battery monitor on top of the battery, so that'll be good. So that problem solved. The problem with the shore power plug coming in and coming into this box, that's been checked off, solved. Our inverter is all good to go. So really, the next step is to move to this right side over here. And when we run the wires for the shore power, we're going to run also 2 wires, actually 3, 2 wires for 2 15-amp circuits for these 2 outlets. So make them both independent. And then we'll have a 3rd wire that's going to go up through the wall. And that's going to take us up for the Houghton rooftop AC. And then there'll be 1 more for the Max van, of course. So that's planned out. This right here has been a little bit challenging, just because I don't want to take this all the way out. There's a bolted tie down up there that doesn't want to seem to come out, so I'm leaving that, and I'm just working around this back side by lifting this up and kind of coming through here. And so what I'm going to do is, I've got this outlet little profile bracket that I like to use. It's open. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out just a little Baltic Birch wood frame to go behind it to reinforce that. And then the pocket behind this will be what allows the box to go actually through the back. So that's the plan there. And then finally, we'll have the 6-gauge wire coming from the batteries under the driver's seat. Well, that's going to snake its way, a positive and a negative is going to snake its way all the way back behind here. And it's going to come out right here where the that Victron DC to DC 50-amp charger is going to go. And then we'll have the disconnect switch right here. And so that is it for this, and then the 2 wires going up top. So now we're going to pause on this because we need to have the rooftop adhesive set up for at least 8 hours. So that's what I'm doing right now. All right, so because I'm going to be cutting holes in the roof, we're going to move these nice batteries back over here. Maybe you guys can see that L-track back here on the floor. I'm not sure if you can see that. I've got some photos of it, so maybe we pop that in there later. And then we got this little fire blanket down here. That's going to catch the metal, and when the roof panel pops out and kind of comes down, it'll catch that. Let's see here, what is next? All right, next is the roof. Where's my camera? Let's go to the van roof. There we go. Okay, so this is a mid roof. So let me move this over. There we go. All right. Let's make our way up on the roof. This is where we're going to be working at. In this episode, we will be coming back down later tonight to finish up the wiring and kind of getting our test on everything. But yeah, so up here, when you come up on the roof, you need to make sure that your knee is on the rib. And then we have this nice foam pad here just to help with any dents or something like that. So up here, the Houghton, the DIY template kit is up here. And so it looks like this. It comes with 2 additional supports in the back. So this is for the gap, the dip in the back between where the tail light and the roof meet. So there's like a little taper, little wedge, and that kind of fits snug right in there. And then this takes up the difference in the middle. It just helps evenly distribute the weight. But yeah, so we came up here with our marker, and we went ahead and marked out this template. We went inside behind the rib and put a drill bit, drilled up through it. And then basically what we're doing is, this is the drill bit, we come down and we kind of like snag the drill bit. And that's how we translate where we can cut from the inside to the outside. So you got the rib, drills, it's close to the rib as you can get, drill up, and then there's like a little drill bit, and that'll tell you where you can furthest mount the template forward. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to come back down. We're going to measure the offset from the front of the rooftop AC to the max fan. This is a mid-roof, so it's going to be this is a mid-roof crew van. So it's going to be interesting because Ford upholsters this going forward, and so we don't want to go in there and access any of that. I have my max fan cardboard template that I created. So this is the exact profile of the lid and where the 14 by 14 hole is to be cut. So this way you can quickly visually lay this down and figure out where you want the max fan to be instead of guessing. And then we also have, and if you're wondering what all this like little black stuff is, they were driving on the highway and somehow this, I don't know where this came from, but it came off the road. So we'll wipe that off if we can get to it. So the max fan is going to go right here. But what we need to do before we trace and mark this out is we need to find out our offset back here. So we need to find out what the overhang is of the Houghton rooftop AC, And then, because we don't want this too far forward where we're getting into this front rib. So, yeah, we want to find out what that offset is and stick with that. So that's what I'm going to do now is go back down and measure what that offset is. Let's go to So I've got the AC unit propped up here. Not sure if there's a good way to show you guys. That might work. All right, so back here, we've got this template, and what we want to do is, so this is not the template. So the template that's on the van's rooftop from DIY Van is referenced off of this. This is the seal that comes with the Houghton. And so the seal, it's got a direction that faces up with the gasket, and it locks into place. And then what we want to do is pop it into place into this front lip. That's the same clearance as up on the roof. We want to measure from that to this outside. So we've got, 5 inches. So if we did 6 inches from that, we get an inch gap, and we'd be safe from any clearance issues, essentially. So we got 6 inches, and that's why the cardboard template's nice, because we've got the, where is it? Yeah, so 6 inches is nice because when we come up here and we measure that 6 inches, we know 5 inches is where it's at, and then this is going to allow us to move this all the way back to right there. And so we'll have, so that'll be 5 inches, and then that 1 inch gap, and then we'll have our max fan. So let's push this up to 6 inches, and then we got 6. And yeah, that is where we're going to put it. So let's go ahead and we'll get our marker out. And we'll mark that right here. Yeah, that's why this template's really nice, because you can make sure that you're right where you need to be. And it's visual too, so that way you're not gonna, not only is it accurate, but you can visually know that you're in the right spot. So, rooftop AC, and then we're gonna triple check. It's always good to do that. So again, that lip is right there. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to push this drill bit back in the van. I'm going to grab the Houghton template or the gasket and bring that over. Yeah, just to make sure. Okay. Let's see here. 6 inches. So 5 inches. Perfect. Okay, so this is going to go right in here, and we measured 5 inches from this inside to the outside of the Houghton. So we got clearance there, and then what we did is we just pushed it forward 1 inch to maintain the clearance, and that gives us 6 inches. All right, so should we go on that? All right, what is this? All right, let's just check one more time. Yeah, so technically we got 4 inches, so yeah, we should have a nice 2 inches of clearance. She's fine, she just needs some dog food. Man, that smells good. All right, because I want to, so I'm just down here quadruple checking. Let's see. Yeah, so 5 inches, yeah, okay. So unlike some other ACs, this has like a funky curve on the front, so that's why I'm just slightly paranoid that so the offset's just a little bit different. All right, let's see here. Yeah. Okay, yep, 1 inch offset. We're good. I feel good about that. Next, we're gonna hop up there and we're gonna cut some holes in the roof. So, where are we at? Let's go this way. Now the foam pads on the bottom of this rooftop AC they're kind of funky, so we don't know where the those two back plastic pieces go yet, but we're not going to. We'll test fit the. We're going to glue this one in, and we're going to glue this one in. Those are easy. We know what those are. These two back support pieces. Yeah, we'll put the AC on, and then we'll find out where they want to be. Like if do they want to be more right, left? Does this need to go right, left? That sort of thing. Yeah, so mainly we're going to focus on these. So while I have this template up here, I'm going to go ahead and drill the 4 mounting bolt holes. So I'm going to take my template off before I glue it. And there's holes on here, and we're just going to go find the drill bit that matches. It'll make it a little bit easier. I don't know if I mentioned it in other videos, but what we're going to do is we're going to use window weld to actually I'm going to cut that out, clamp it, then drill. But these holes are, I got a 23/64 bit that I'm using. That seems to fit perfectly in these holes. Okay, so the template's down here. We don't need it on the roof anymore. This template's down here. We've got a step drill bit that we're going to drill out 2 sides of each of the square openings, and that way our jigsaw can go 2 directions, and then the other hole will make it do the other 2 directions. I'm just filling up the dog's water bowl, so that sounds weird. Nova is grabbing her dog food right now. All right. Now, we'll drill out the AC one first. And the microphone should bring down the volume. I'm pretty sure it does it every time. I haven't been doing it lately, so nobody's complained. All right. This one's going to be interesting. This is like kind of like an octagon. It's not square. The other stuff is always square, so this will be interesting to cut out. And just a heads up, we're not worried about scratching this outer surface when we come with a jigsaw, because we're going to sand it anyway, about 2 inches in diameter. Also, after drill this, I'm going to get the vacuum up here, and I run the vacuum as I cut, and it'll take up all the metal filings. So yeah, when the jigsaw goes across, it will gouge into this outside just a little bit, but again, that's going to be sanded so that our adhesive can adhere to the roof. So if you're concerned if you're doing the same thing to your personal van, don't worry about it. The template covers all that underneath the adhesive. And you just really need to get it to the diameter of the jigsaw blade without losing your jigsaw blade. Step drill is nice because it's usually pretty aggressive. You can start working quickly. And you don't want to bear down really hard because you'll create a dip or like a dimple. It's not the end of the world. When you clamp this, it can fix it, but if you can avoid it, you're gonna get a better seal. So now this will be the loud part. We're gonna make jigsawing and vacuuming at the same time. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me, but we're using a metal jigsaw bit or blade. See this right here, really flexy. All right, we've got 2 holes cut out. Looking good. So next, we're going to take some denatured alcohol, and we're going to wipe down the roof of the van. Actually, we'll go ahead and sand first. And we're just going to use, let's see what we got over here. Nothing crazy. This is, what, 320? Yeah, 320. Which that's not a lot, but that's all we really need. And just be cognizant of where you put your hands. And we only want to go 1 inch. It's about 1 inch. Or just a very light scuff. We're not trying to go through the paint. We're just pretty much roughing up the clear coat, that's all. But we need the denatured alcohol to clean up all the white chalky stuff. So right here, we don't want to put our hand. See, there's no, from here to here, there's no support. This is really floppy. Now we're going to reinforce that, but when we're up here doing this, and there's like this black tar rubber stuff. This is the factory sound deadener that we cut through. So don't rub your hand on this like I'm doing it. I've just done it before. You'll like slice your hand right open. Yeah, and be careful when you're doing this too. I'm just being careful. And when we glue these adapter plates on, these cracks here and here, these thin ones, that is what will leak on you if you don't put enough adhesive on the window weld adhesive that we're going to use. Okay, so we've scuffed everything up. I'm just going to be very carefully, just going to take down these burrs. The Bosch jigsaw blades I use, they're so good that there is basically no, after you do this, this is very, you can see this is very, it's not sharp at all. Now again, don't do that, but just to prove a point. There's one. I will say, you guys might have seen this little octagon thing. That was really tough. You don't want to turn and force the jigsaw. The reason I drilled so many holes is you only want to take the jigsaw in straight lines, pick up, turn around, straight line back. Don't cut in like that. You risk breaking the blade. The blade breaks. If it catches the sheet metal, it's going to rip it. It's going to do a lot of bad things. Now I'm putting AC in the back because this is these 2 cross members right here are the most support. Max fan's not that heavy. So now we can clean her up. And then we'll get some rust preventative. We'll go over the edges. We'll give that about a couple minutes to dry. And be very liberal with the denatured alcohol. And don't worry, it's not going to hurt your hands. It's basically the same exact thing as like white gas camp fuel. This literally says fuel, alcohol burning appliances, marine stoves. But I like to clean all my surfaces up with it before I glue anything down. All right, there we go. 2 perfectly cut out roof holes. So now we need to go down and prep our template pieces. Shop is so crowded right now. You can see. It's a little bit of a mess. Where am I going to work here? The problem is if you get more tables in the shop, you just put more stuff on the tables. You don't actually get space back. I want to work over here so you guys can see it clearly on the camera. All right, let's get this out of the way so it doesn't get damaged. All right, there we go. Let me zoom in over here so you can see what's going on. So we need our 2 templates. I gotta find one name. I'm just gonna call them templates. Adapter plates. We got the one for the back, one for the front. And then what we're going to do with these is we're going to use Permatex glass weld. It's a urethane adhesive. It is exactly the same thing that they use to install your car windshield with if you get it replaced. I need to drill these holes out. Let me clamp this down and I need to do that. You can do it after it's on there. It's just, this is the right way to do it. That way you can kind of clean up any thread burrs. So we're just gonna get this lined up. This is our 23/64 bit. Let's triple check the gasket. All right, looks good. Let's go drill these holes. You don't have to go full speed on the drill. So I go full speed at the end and kind of clean it out, but again, you don't want to smash the drill bit in here because the sheet metal is really thin. You want to let the drill bit do its job. And so I've done a bunch of other AC units. This Houghton template, these holes are extremely close. I mean, they're actually on top of the lip from the roof support, and that's a really hard metal to go through. It messes up the drill bit. It kind of makes it come in an angle. So you need to make sure you come back up, correct it, and go straight up and down vertically. Because when we go to put the bolts in to clamp it down, if we don't do that, like this back one, for example, that one, it's good now, but we needed to, besides the drill bit falling out, you need them nice and vertical, not at an angle. So, that, I mean, that should be obvious, but sometimes you don't know. All right, let's blow this plastic off here. Wipe this clean, because we will be coming right back in with the you got a little piece of metal sticking up here. Just smush it over. Okay. So those are our mounting holes into the rooftop. So now, take this template and we've got 2 clamps up here. We need to find all of our clamps before we put this adhesive on here. Okay. And this plastic, I guess it's static electricity, but it attracts so much dust. All right. Those two are good. We've got our adhesive right there. What was I getting? Oh, clamps and then gloves, and then caulk gun. Where is that? So this is awesome. This is the Milwaukee automatic caulk gun. So it's actually already loaded for lap sealants. We're going to use lap. This is a Dicor black lap sealant. We'll use it after we take the clamps off. Okay. Let's see what I want to do before that. Clamps. Eight clamps is perfect, if you can do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 2 more for the max fan. Some of these clamps I need to throw away. They don't really grip anymore. They just like slide down. Actually, I need that for California build. There. Got them. Perfect. Okay. All right, so we'll use that for max fan. All right, let's get this started. We need to start getting this to cure. When we cut this, let's zoom back in here. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Dewey. All right. Yeah, a lot of trial and error. All right, so these are 2 frames. We're gonna puncture the top of this can, and this is great that we have 2 of these because this is expensive. It's like 50 bucks, 40, 50 bucks a can. You don't want to get this on your hands. It's so good that it's almost impossible to get off your hands. Your hands just basically has to grow off of your hands. It does not want to come off easy. Something cool about black nitrile gloves, I mean nitrile gloves in general, is when I use these for upholstery, the upholstery adhesive actually doesn't stick to them, which is really nice. Fun fact. Now we're going to take this tip and we need to have a small end opening. So it comes with a small end, but we're going to open it up just a little bit more. You want to have too much back pressure in the tube because it's going to ooze out from the back of the tube. That's you really don't want that. But yeah, I'd say this is like a little less than 1/8 of an inch opening. Make sure this is nice and open. Again, you don't want any extra pressure. Make sure you don't cross these threads, even though they're plastic. Okay. Get our gun. Now these guns, you want to make sure that this is unlocked. And then you want to push this forward, put it in the can first, and then push it back. If you accidentally graze the side of the can, you're not only going to waste 50 bucks, but you're going to, it's the worst cleanup process in the whole world. I did it so bad one time that I almost bought a new gun. It was that bad. And then just add just ever so slight, just little bits of pressure until it starts coming out. There we go. And this auto retracts, so it doesn't keep oozing out, which is really nice about the gun. Okay, so for this one, we want to come in. I'm not sure how good you guys can see this. This part's important because 5 years ago when I did my own van, this is what in the future became the leak point, which was nice that I found out on my van. But so the leak point is in these channels right here. It's just the way that, because again, this template's made up. Now DIY Van, very good company, but this, somebody made this. This is not like a collaboration type of thing with Ford, to my knowledge. So, this is. It's kind of like I would make it, so I don't know, maybe I would make it perfect. But this is about 99% perfect. However, when it clamps down, if you have like a little air pocket or something like that in here, that could create a leak. But the amount of sealant that I'm going to put on here, it's impossible. So now remember, this is first line of defense. The what am I trying to say? Lap sealant, or the second line of defense is the glue for the gasket, and the third line of defense is the lap sealant. And so, all right. Again, this thing attracts so much dust. Now, obviously, I'm being very thorough because I'm trying to teach you guys online, but don't stress out too much. It's not that, you don't have to be that precise. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. So we're just going to start just randomly, right here. And we want to make sure that we don't have too much of a fast feed. A little bit faster than that. Yeah, and don't get it too close to the holes. It's okay if it goes in there. This is basically going to dry just like a piece of rubber, essentially. But it'll make it harder for you to get that bolt into the hole. So it looks like we're gonna get 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe do four runs. Maybe 5. Nah, it looks like 4. We're gonna do the same thing for the max fan. Nice thing about the max fan is it actually has these kind of structural grooves in the frame, and they just make it easy to follow a pattern if you're somebody that needs to be able to follow a pattern, for example. And we're not going to go crazy thick on the last part, but I've recently started to, I kind of like when this stuff oozes out, about 1/8 of an inch. So if I can nail that, then I'm super confident. Because I do get questions, everyone worries about the roof leaking. When I'm doing this, it's not going to leak. There's no way. We got 3 layers of adhesive smushed together, custom templates. I know where the failure points are. I've done it a bunch of times, so I'm not worried. But if you just treat your roof, just make it really neat, almost like it's an interior part of your van. Like a lot of stuff I see on YouTube, it's kind of cut out really quick, hastily, and then there's just a bunch of glue slapped down in hopes that it doesn't leak. But if you stop and think where it can leak, you might do a better job. And if all else fails, yes, you can just put a whole tube of lap sealant on top of the roof. Okay, so we're done with this, but what we're going to do is we need to, I kind of call it connecting the dots. So there's that channel here. We nailed it right here, but right here we've got like a place where if this doesn't seal well, that water can channel in here. So we're just going to take and do an extra line right on top of that. Kind of connect all those together. Okay. So for this one, I think just by judging from my experience, this tube would be enough to put this one on, but I don't think there's going to be enough left to glue the max fan on. We'll see. I bought another tube just in case, but this is a situation where, you know, buy an extra one. If you can take it back to the store, you know, take it back. But this does pretty much start curing as soon as you take it out of the, or squeeze it out of the bottle. Now we're going to take this up on the roof, and we're just going to lightly place it down on there. Then we're going to get our clamps. We're not going to rush any of this because we don't want to get it on our fingers. We don't want to get it on the van, on the ladder, drop it, that sort of thing. All right, so back on the roof. So on the computer, it's pretty cool. I can save positions to get the camera back quickly, which is nice. It probably looks crazy on your end, but all right. So we got our template. I'm just gonna walk over here, nice and easy. Don't drop it. Okay, we got our denatured alcohol. We cleaned it all up. And so now what we're going to do is just lay it down. Just like that. And then we're just going to push it down a little bit. Okay. It's good. Got all of our holes lined up. And without trying, I even put it in the exact orientation. So, you know, you can kind of rotate this. Should be completely even. But, I mean, there's only two ways to do that. Yeah, we're just going to kind of squeeze this a little bit by hand so it doesn't move on us a little bit when we get the clamps on it. Now, before we clamp it, you need to have some. Maybe take a 2x4, rip it in half, that sort of thing. I use these DIY van roof supports that I just never ended up using. Nothing wrong with them, I just didn't use them. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. 8 clamps. You should be able to see on top of the van. I'm going to be inside the van for this one. But these are the pieces I'm talking about. So these are meant for roof supports, but I'm using them so that I can evenly distribute the pressure on the roof. So I'm not sure if you guys can see how I'm doing it, but something like that. Okay, now we can start to put our clamps on here. And we're just doing it lightly. Starting in the four corners. I usually start in the middle, but this template is kind of interesting with these little triangles. It's custom made for the Houghton rooftop AC. So, but from everything I'm looking at right now, it looks like it's done in a good way. Give yourself enough slack if these are the ratcheting style so that you can properly squeeze the adhesive out. And also be very careful of poking yourself in the head of the eye with these things just sticking down from the roof. Okay, so I basically just got the four corners snug. And now I'm going to go for the outside. And the other outside. And then we need two more. And they're on the roof. If you're missing something, it's on the roof. Now, this crown spot, don't squeeze this down too hard. Okay, now being careful to not poke our eyes out, we're going to start to clamp this on the corners. All right, when you feel like it's nice and tight. Let's come out to the roof and see if you got, can't really go back, but we want to see oozing in the right spot. So right here, perfect. Oozing out, corner, perfect. Backside corner, perfect. Perfect. We got a little bit on the ridge. That looks good. This one I'm going to reposition a little bit. Right here in the middle. And see, I already got a little bit on my hand, so I don't think I got it on here though. All right. The back side looks good, this side looks good. Okay. Yeah, everything looks great. So let's take that glove off. Make sure we just get another one. Yeah, so next, we'll do the max fan. This one's going to get 3 passes. think my battery might be going down. This thing's all over the place. Come on, man, just make it. Yeah, you want to take your time, but also use this gun because you want the evenness. So when you go to clamp it on, there's not a big high spot. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the little connect the dots thing. There. That one's already done. And one more. Okay. All right, so let's pop. We need to move our ladder. And Dewey, if you're still watching, we already got one of the swivel seat bases in for the passenger seat, so it's done. The drivers, I just need to run the 6-gauge wire to the back. I needed to keep the ladder where it was. Let's see, yeah, that'll work. Right, just watch where your cross member is. And then double check where your channels are for the template adapter, whatever we're calling it. And this one, nice light presses because this thing is super floppy. Now once this cures, this will actually provide really good structure. Okay, so now get some clamps on it. This one's pretty thin, so I'm using some different clamps on this one. And this one I'm kind of like just manually massaging the template to get it to ooze out the adhesive because the roof's really thin right here. So if you squeeze it, it kind of creates like a suction effect. And then after we do that, we're just going to use the clamps to hold it in place so it doesn't move while it cures. All right. One, two, three. Where's the fourth clamp? Oop. I didn't change the camera, did I? front. Now technically there's not a side that should be better than the other, but if there were, the front, you really go that, you know, you're driving down the highway 70, 80 miles an hour and you get that wind blowing in there. I know that sounds crazy, but if there was a spot you want to double check. Sometimes I actually put a little bit more lap sealing on just the front edge. Yeah, so this one's looking good. It's oozing out of the front, the back corners. So we just need to check the back side. Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's see here. There we go. Okay. Take this glove off. All right. That is our roof vents. So, feeling good there. Let's wipe this stuff off my hands. Yeah, so, all right, let's do a little recap here. So, the swivel in the driver's seat, I put a terminal fuse. There's like a little battery box from Ford. It's the Ford customer connection box. So that box has the fuses for the alternator power coming in, and it's like a little distribution bus bar. So I put a terminal fuse in one of those, and then I feed that wire out. And then once that's all done, then we put the swivel seat base on and then put everything back together. So that's what we're doing later. Yeah, so we've got the two roof things. They're kind of just going to do their thing for a couple hours. And then we'll do another live stream here in a minute. I'm going to go grab some food and then come back. But we'll set those up as long as possible before we release them. And then what I'll do is, it'll be a late night tonight. We're just going to make sure we get these systems up and running. And then tomorrow is a little bit of a buffer day, but I really want to knock everything out as much as possible tonight. So we'll probably be doing a little bit of upholstery for the interior panel. We'll do, we'll get the wiring. We've got the electrical outlets. And these are really nice. They only sell them at Home Depot, the versions that I like. But everybody's into these, USB integrated into the outlet. What's really nice about these is they come with pigtail wiring right there. And that pigtail wiring is a perfect match for the Marine 12-3 wire that I use in the shop, which is right here. So if you guys can see this. So this wire, this is anchor, I think. So this is 12 gauge. I usually like to plus size one of these. Technically you could use 14 gauge, but 12 gauge is better if you can get it or budget it. But this will be what's running, will feed 2 outlets, so 2 individual runs. Not one wire won't do 2 outlets. I mean, one wire does. Yeah, let's learn about electricity really quick. So when you buy this, and it says right here on the back, it says 15 amp, 125 volt. So the 15 amp, that is for the whole plug itself. So that's not each outlet. So even though there's 2 outlets on here, it's only one 15 amp circuit. So if you're running 2 devices at the same time, technically you want it to be like 7.5 amps. But nobody does that. So the way we work is typically you'll have something plugged in and another thing plugged in. Let's just say you have a light plugged in and you got like a heater, for example. That would be the worst case scenario. You can't have the light on while you're running the heater, and then vice versa, if that makes sense. So what we'll do is we'll have 2 independent circuits. So there'll be 1 wire ran for this circuit with a 20 amp breaker in the panel, and then 1 wire with this circuit with a 20 amp breaker in the panel. And the breaker is to protect the wire. It's not for the device. The breaker protects this from overheating the wire. So that's an easier way to think about electricity. The Rec Pro is like 14.2, 14.7 amps. So we're perfect on that. So we get a wire we're running for that. What else? Yeah, so I'll grab some food before we start the long night here. Maybe get some coffee. But if you guys are not subscribed yet, get subscribed to the channel. Like this video, share it to your friends if they're building their own DIY van, need some help. And don't forget to check out Vanbuilder HQ. That is our blog website. Not only is it the blog where we got a lot of information, but I've got the new DIY, good Lord, I'm tired. The DIY van blueprint. Let's open the website, and I'm just gonna. I'll talk when I get on the website here. So I got 2 things for you. First, if you want something free, this is our DIY van build cheat sheet. It's essentially last 3 years of all my Amazon purchases put into an Excel sheet, so you guys can peruse and find some stuff that I use on there. It's more budget. This is the budget-friendly version. I'm going to come out with a 2.0 that's more kind of higher-end stuff that I've been getting into, but it's free. Put your name and email address, and you can download it. And then if we go to Vanbuilder HQ, there we go. Excellent. I know Jamie's watching this and just laughing. This is what my computer shows. You guys won't see this. This happens every time I'm on this computer. I have no idea why. If you go to Vanbuilder HQ and you click on course, the camper van conversion blueprint is my DIY van building course. You can pick up now for $50 access. It's going to cover a wide range of pretty much everything from finding a van, buying it, to walking through the layout, design, off-grid power system, fresh and gray water storage, insulating, sound dampening, exterior upgrades, and then finalizing your build, which is like moving into the van, that sort of thing, if you're going to do it. They're nice, long lectures with PowerPoints to back everything up, so you can take a lot of notes, you can watch it. So Jamie says we're updating this. So, Jamie in the chat, he's the behind the machine here of getting this stuff uploaded. So yeah, we're going to update this. We're updating the site right now, but all the links work. Click on it, check it out, and then we're also rolling this over into like a community course where you can access pretty much all parts of this. So things won't be independent, where you have a course and then you have kind of all the blog articles. It'll be a little more organized, but this is kind of a 1.0 right now. Then we'll move into the 2.0. So yeah, I'd love for you guys to check it out. And that is the camper van conversion blueprint. The website blog has just a bunch of different articles on a lot of things that I've worked on in the shop: freshwater tanks, lawn sill, marine flooring, that type of thing. When we head on over to Vanbuilder HQ's YouTube channel, which you guys are watching now, typically you're always checking out the live stream. All right. If you go to videos, the videos are where there's nice long form content. And this is all the nice edited stuff. I kind of ramble on live streams, but hey, it's just what it is. It's live. Now, all this stuff is curated. So we have van tours, we go to van expos, and there's a lot of helpful stuff in here. This video on the Ultimate Camper Van Flooring Guide is really nice to watch. I walk you through pretty much all the steps, in my opinion, that are the best for putting together a nice solid floor, and then kind of wrapping it up with the I kind of call it like the floor sandwich over here, where you got all the layers of flooring. But yeah, check it out. Check all the links out. Links to everything is in the description of the YouTube channel description below. Check it out. But yeah, I'm gonna grab some food here. We're gonna do another live stream tonight, covering the wiring, and we might sneak some upholstery in there. I'm not sure, but that'll be later, maybe 2 or 3 hours, something like that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next live stream.